Hello YouTube, CivilianSnowman here, and today I'm reviewing the new remake by Breck Eisner called The Crazies, starring Timothy Olyphant, Radha Mitchell and Joe Anderson. Now, this film is of course a remake of George Romero's 1973 original film The Crazies, and I haven't seen that one so I can't really compare, but the plot of this one is that a small town is kind of overrun by a virus affecting its inhabitants and turning them crazy, and it's up to the sheriff, played by Timothy Olyphant, his wife, the doctor, played by Radha Mitchell, and his deputy, played by Joe Anderson. They are trying to escape the town when the military come in to contain the problem. So that's the basic outline of the film, and I can't really go into much more depth than that when it comes to the plot without spoiling some major twists and turns. Let me just say right off the bat that I absolutely loved the hell out of this movie. I went into it with kind of mediocre expectations, not really knowing what to expect, but I thought, you know, if it's kind of half as interesting as Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, then it should be worth a watch, and I was actually very impressed with what Breck Eisner managed to do. Now, while he doesn't bring as much flair to this movie as Snyder brought to Dawn of the Dead, he really does kind of take it, modernise it, but not in a way that's detrimental to the film, which so many remakes are. And he really manages to tell a compelling story out of it, so I was really quite impressed. There's a good omen right from the start of this film, the fact that it starts with a Johnny Cash song playing over the opening, which obviously Dawn of the Dead did back in 2004, I think that movie came out. So Breck Eisner was obviously well aware of kind of where the bar was set on remakes, and this was kind of his entry into it, and I found that to be quite a humble thing that he would do that and acknowledge that Dawn of the Dead is kind of a really good remake and have his own crack at it. So I kind of admired that that artistic integrity that he brought to the movie, and that he really wanted to make a remake that was worth its salt, you know, and not just retread the original material. The acting throughout this film is really impressive. Timothy Olyphant seems to be getting better with every movie he does. I mean, one of his weakest roles was Die Hard 4, but in The Crazies I actually found him to be quite a compelling he was quite a compelling and relatable hero, not just the chiseled jaw one that I was kind of expecting him to play. I thought he would be playing like a cardboard cutout, but he played what felt like a semi-genuine character with some conflict there, and props go to Radha Mitchell as well. I think she managed to hold up what could have been just she could have been just there for the exposition, but they actually managed to kind of weave a character out of her as well. And to be honest, you can't expect too much from a film like this when it comes to character development, but I think that they managed to kind of strike a balance between having archetypes and real people, you know. And the standout performance for me was by Joe Anderson, who plays Russell, the deputy, because I think he really gives, it's a very underrated performance. He really gives a layered and deep performance. And while it kind of borders on cliche at one point, it's almost like the writers were teasing us with where they were going to take the character, and then kind of go the other way with it at the last minute. And I really quite like that, the way that the writers were aware that the characters are really kind of archetypes, and sort of turned them on the head. Now, they didn't completely subvert the genre by any stretch of the imagination, but they did manage to put not an original twist on it, but a modern twist on it, and one that felt quite appropriate for it to be released now. I've heard some complaints that people aren't finding this film scary, and I think the problem with that aspect of it is that it's been billed as like an all-out horror movie, and when I saw the trailer I assumed, you know, it was just going to be a horror movie, but it's not. It's more of a chase, suspense, action movie, and if I had to compare it to another film, I'd probably compare it to 28 Weeks Later, which I think is a superior film, but it's in a similar vein. It's more of a chase movie than anything else. So while it didn't keep me up at night, you know, it had some startling moments. It had a couple of cheeky jump scares, which I actually thought were done just right. I still would have preferred the film without them, but I didn't find them intrusive at all on the scene. They didn't kind of take me out of the film, but I still thought they were kind of a weak way of scaring the audience. But apart from that, I think that this film, don't go into it expecting an all-out horror film. You know, go into it expecting something a little bit different. You know, a little bit of action, suspense, and chase elements in there, and you'll probably get a lot more out of it. I think the aspect of this film that's going to get critics and fans talking are the set pieces, because there are some really brilliant scenes in this involving the Crazies. The Crazies themselves, the almost zombie-like qualities of them, and I'm going to get onto that in a second, right, because that's something I really want to say about this film. But the set pieces really do stand out. I think there's a great scene involving a car wash, which I won't go into because I don't want to ruin it for anyone, and a scene involving a bone saw as well, which we see in the trailer, where Timothy Olyphant's character is attacked by a crazy doctor who drops the bone saw, and it kind of rattles across the floor towards Timothy Olyphant, and he can't get away from it. That, I thought, was really it was quite creative, and it was very well paced as well, and kind of got the heart racing a little bit. And then there's a few inventive kills as well. There's one kill involving Timothy Olyphant's hand, and now that's all I'll say, but anybody who's seen the movie will know which kill I'm referring to. And I thought that was quite original, although it does kind of emphasise a plot hole in the movie, that they've established that whatever causes people to turn crazy is a virus, and yet blood-on-blood contact didn't infect Timothy Olyphant's character. Now, that's all I'm going to say. It's a great kill, very inventive, but it does kind of emphasise a plot hole. But apart from that, yeah, it's really good. Now, people have been arguing about this film and whether or not it's a zombie movie. Now, to me, right, it has the setup, the story, the characters, and all that jazz of a zombie movie. And yes, the Crazies aren't zombies like we've seen before, but come on, it's a zombie movie. You know, yeah, the Crazies are people who've lost rationality and stuff, but let's not dwell on that. You know, they are people who lose their minds, who want to kill other people, you know, and it's the fact that that part of it's irrelevant. Whether or not they're zombies is kind of irrelevant, because the film, it's set up, you know, the scenes, the story, the plot, the 3-act structure, everything else matches a zombie movie, apart from the Crazies themselves. So to me, I would quite easily categorise this as a zombie movie and really not get my panties in a twist over the actual Crazies themselves, because to be honest, I don't think that matters. I think if you want, if you're a fan of zombie movies, you'll go into this movie and you'll love it. End of. The last thing I want to say about this film is it has a very strong 3-act structure. Now, with most zombie slash post-apocalyptic type end-of-the-world movies, you know, virus outbreaks and all that stuff, they get to a certain point with the character, and the film has to end. It ends, you know, you see what the character sees and it ends. But this film really is, it does feel like 3 films kind of rolled into one. You've got the kind of initial outbreak for the first act, the military trying to contain it for the second act, and kind of the aftermath and the result of everything in the third act. And it goes all the way with it. It shows you the outbreak from beginning to end, and I thought that was brilliant, because it's not very often we see that in these types of movies, to see how to what extent the military is prepared to go to contain this outbreak. I thought was really quite fascinating and lifted this above the average kind of zombie movie, for me at least. Time for a rating. I'm going to give the Crazies 4 stars. I absolutely just enjoyed the crap out of this movie. I thought it was really good. For any fans of horror and especially zombie movies, you'll love this film. It is really good. And for any fans of like action films or that kind of entertainment, you'll enjoy it too, because it's not just flat out horror. It has elements from other genres in there as well, and I think there's something for everyone. I would recommend it to any kind of moviegoer as a really good cinema experience. It's just a genuinely good film. I think Breck Eisner has kind of cemented his place alongside Zack Snyder as somebody who can do a remake well, you know. So yeah, I really enjoyed this film, and I highly recommend you go and see it. So it gets 4 stars from me. And I hope you've enjoyed this review. Thanks to everybody who rates, comments and subscribes. This is CivilianSnowman signing out. I'll see you later. Bye.